Henry Hudson was the greatest explorer whose dreams never came true.
Henry Hudson was an English navigator and explorer who repeatedly tried to find a route from Europe to Asia without success.
Deep within the Arctic Circle lies the most dangerous place you could think of to sail a ship. It is a maze of islands and drifting ice, where channels open without warning and close again as fast. Nature here, one sailor wrote, is like a living, malevolent beast. This ice maze stretches for 1,000 miles across the Canadian Arctic, and finding a route across it, the fabled Northwest Passage, was the holy grail of exploration for more than 400 years. Tried and failed to find a route through the ice. The dream they were chasing was a trade route that would link Europe and Asia, not by the long route round the Horn, but by sailing a ship across the Arctic. The problem was just that it was probably the most dangerous shortcut in the world. The Arctic is an archipelago of islands with ice in between, and the ice is constantly moving.
It's a puzzle, it's a matrix, like a maze. The winds are blowing the ice around, the currents are pushing the ice. And for a ship to traverse that was next to impossible. The ice flows are grinding together. They would open up and make a nice open water lead, and a ship would sail down it. And suddenly the wind shifts, the ice closes in on them, and they're trapped. They can't go backwards, they can't go forwards.
For 300 years, the ice defeated every challenger.
He is considered the person who is in effect responsible for the founding of New York City. And he is also considered one of the founding figures of Canada because of his discovery of Hudson Bay.
Little is known of Hudson's early life, but many believe he was born around 1565 in England. Hudson became a skilled sailor and navigator.
In 1607, he convinced a group of investors to sponsor an expedition that would take him from England to East Asia.
The goal was to find an ice-free passage to China, sailing essentially north around the European continent.
In the next 2 years, Hudson tried twice to find a route to the Far East via the Arctic Ocean, but he was unsuccessful. Between expeditions, Hudson is believed to have married and had 3 sons.
In 1609, with the backing of Dutch investors, Henry Hudson decided he would try to look for the Northwest Passage. His crew sailed south and west across the Atlantic Ocean.
Hudson turns south and sails into New York Bay and up the Hudson River that bears his name today, looking for some kind of inlet or bay that would turn out to be a passage through the continent.
In 1610, this time sailing under the British flag, Hudson again tried to find the Northwest Passage to the Pacific. This time following a more northern route. He sailed into what is now the Hudson Strait, and then into the bay.
When he sails into Hudson Bay, which of course is large enough so there's actually tidal pull in the bay, it was very easy to mistake it for a passage to the Pacific. And Hudson was not willing to believe otherwise.
He and his crew spend the rest of the summer looking for a passage farther west because they realize they are not in East Asia.
In November 1610, Hudson's ship became icebound in the Hudson Bay during a terrible winter. Finally, in June, the ship was able to leave, but Hudson refused to go home, and so the crew mutinied.
They placed Henry Hudson, his son, and about 7 other members of the crew in a shallop, a small boat, and set them adrift, and then proceeded to take the ship back to England. Henry Hudson and the other marooned sailors were never heard from again. Many people think that Henry Hudson was a failure because he never achieved his life's goal, which was to find a quick water route to Asia. What we should remember is that he was an able navigator, that his ships always made it back to their investors, and that there is now more water named for Henry Hudson than any other human being who's ever lived.